for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the clerk take the roll?
Bob?
Here.
Alicia? Here. Mary? Here. Steve?
Present.
Alan?
Here. Next, we have the public hearing for the water rate tracker. Do I have any public comment? Again, any public comment on the water rate tracker? Third and final call, any public comment on the water rate tracker? Public hearing closed. Next, we have the swearing in of Police Chief William Alcott. Will the clerk and the chief step forward, please? Before we begin, I'd like to inform our residents who aren't familiar with Bill about his professional biography. Chief Alcott is a 30-year veteran of law enforcement. He holds a master's degree in public safety administration, bachelor's degree in law enforcement management from Calumet College of St. Joseph. He is a graduate of Northwestern University Center for Public Safety School of Staff and Command. He began his career January of 1991 as a police officer with the Village of Linwood. Assignments included patrol officer, detective, and sergeant of detectives. In February of '98, Chief Alcott continued his career as a patrol officer with the Village of Homewood. In 1999, he was assigned to the Criminal Investigation Unit as a detective, promoted to sergeant in 2008, Deputy Chief of Police 2010, and Chief of Police in 2016. Chief Alcott has held various titles, including Network 3 Gang Unit Member, Network 3 Tactical Unit Member and Supervisor, South Suburban Major Crimes Task Force Member and Team Leader, member of the Illinois Association of Chiefs of Police, member of the South Suburban Association Chiefs of Police, member of the International Association of Chiefs of Police, and the member of the Northwestern University Staff and Command Alumni Association. Chief Alcott has received numerous law enforcement awards throughout his career at the Homewood Police Department. On February 26, 2021, Chief Alcott retired from the Homewood Police Department. Chief Alcott has been a resident of the town of Dyer for 24 years and served on the Dyer Metropolitan Police Commission from 2004 through March of 2021. On March 3rd, 2021, Chief Alcott was appointed to the position of Assistant Chief of Police, and on July 1, 2021, was promoted to the Chief of Police of the Dyer Police Department. You can do the swearing in.
Raise your right hand. I, William Thomas Alcott,
I, William Thomas Alcott,
upon my oath do solemnly swear
on my oath do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and that I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially
that I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially
discharge all my duties
discharge all my duties
as a police chief of the town of Dyer, so help me God.
as a police chief of the town of Dyer, so help me God.
Congratulations.
Clapper is a former chief of police. Who also is part of this. Real quick and brief, I thank you for the confidence that you have in me to become your new chief of police and to continue the hard work that Chief Hine and the Dyer Police Department has brought here. Promise to do my best and bring the quality of life to the town of Dyer to the best of my ability. And thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it.
Next, we have the Fire Service Awards. Will Chief Martin come forward with your men? Tonight, we are recognizing 4 men who have served a combined 138 years on the Dyer Fire Department. Bob Bonin has been with the Dyer Fire Department for 30 years this month. He currently serves as Assistant Chief, overseeing our North Battalion. Chief Bonin has served in every rank, including Chief of Department, and currently is undertaking a comprehensive wellness program. Chief Bonin's drive to better the next generation of firefighter is infectious and highly respected throughout the ranks. Nick Vesci has been with the Dyer Fire Department for 33 years. He currently serves as house captain, overseeing Station 19 and its personnel. Captain Vesci's positive attitude towards department training and the future of the department is something that we can all emulate. Jim Vanderzanen has been with the Dyer Fire Department for 35 years. Currently, Jim serves as firefighter, but does so much more. Jim is our most active fire inspector, making sure commercial and multifamily residentials are up to code. He is also in charge of apparatus and small engine maintenance, repairs, and purchasing. Jim's responsibilities do not end there, and Chief Martin has been quoted as saying Jim is the glue that holds the department together. At the top of the list, we got Jeff Zenzian. Been with the Dyer Fire Department 40 years this month. He currently serves as our department safety officer, overseeing best safety practices while being integral in our community risk reduction, installing smoke detectors for Indiana's Get Alarmed campaign, and teaching parents proper car seat installation. And Jeff also serves on the town utility board. Let's give all these men a hand. Thank you. Thank you, Chief. Next, we have citizen input. Would any of the public like to make a comment or have any questions? You step forward, state your name and address.
My name is Michael Card. I live at 518 Heather Lane. Good news is I didn't come here to complain tonight. I spent 29 and a half years in municipal water, so I appreciate the role each department plays. I've always believed that the police and fire are the most important. So I've only need a minute of your time, but I'd like to make 2 donations if you'll allow me.
Okay.
Okay. This is for the police department. I had these made, and I'd like to donate 250 of them to our police department. You sell them for $505 a piece. You can put $1,250 in taking care of our canines. And, if I may approach it, one other.
Sure.
Oh, my goodness.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll need a
Appreciate
motion.
it.
I would like to make a motion that we accept the donations as presented.
Do I have a second? Let's take a vote. Or Bev, you want to take the roll?
Sure. Bob,
Aye.
Alicia. Aye. Mary. Aye. Steve,
Aye.
Alan.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Next, we have the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, which has claims totaling $2,822,432.67?
I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Claims totaling $2,822,432.67.
Do I have a second? Hearing none, will the clerk take the roll?
Sure. Bob,
Aye.
Alan,
Aye.
Alice, I'm sorry, Alicia. Aye. Mary. Aye. Steve,
Aye.
Alan.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Announcements. I don't see anything on here. Next, we have reports. Town Council, Councilman Starkey.
First, I'd like to welcome Chief Alcott to your new post. Thank you very much. Looking forward to working with you. I'd like to congratulate all of the service milestones for the Dyer Fire Department personnel we saw tonight. Thanks to the Public Works team for their help during and after the storms a few weeks ago. And I'd like to welcome Dave Hine to the dais as our new town manager.
Thank you. Thank you. Councilmember Myers. Okay. Councilmember Tanis.
You know, I always look at the town and how long people stick with their jobs. And tonight just is proof positive. All the younger, whether they're fire or police officers, they're standing on some pretty strong shoulders that have gone before you. And I hope that the younger people look at that and really congratulate and learn from the people who have been here for 20, 30, 40 years. So I congratulate everybody. Let's hang in there. It's worth it because Dyer does appreciate you.
Thank you. Councilman Kramer.
Yeah, I just like to echo everyone's sentiment up here. The town of Dyer, our employees, our Department of Public Works, our police, our fire, our employees at Town Hall here, they all do a great job keeping our town running. I see a lot of other firefighters that have done a great job that are here tonight. I want to thank you. Sometimes you go unnoticed, but trust me, I notice you. And I thank you for your friendship, not only on the fire department, but the police department. I know we have a great police chief coming on board. He happens to be a friend of mine and a friend of the family. A great fire chief. We're really excited about the future coming on here. So if I miss anybody, I'm sorry. The Parks has done a great job too. So thank you, and thank you for coming out tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Just like to say, I appreciate a meeting when a resident comes forward and hands me a check. That's pretty good. So, Clerk Treasurer.
Yes, we received the check from Kathy LaRue from St. John Township for $15,257.50, just so you're aware for the fire protection agreement that we have in place.
Okay.
I'd like to thank all the firemen and things too. And Bill, congratulations on your new appointment. I was there to help put you on the police commission and then swore you in as assistant. And now just quickly to the police chief. So it's been an honor. Dave, welcome. Appreciate everything that you've done in the last 4 days. And we're gonna make a good team. We have a good working group up in every department. And I think this month, but I'm not sure, and Mike correctly, isn't that Parks and Recreation Month or something?
In July, no, yeah.
Okay, well, congratulations on that too. Because you guys do a lot. I see all the kids out every day behind us, and it's kind of fun to see the smiles on their face. Okay, nothing else.
All right, thank you. Town Manager, Dave, also want to extend my welcome to your new position.
Thank you. I'm humbled by the support I've received in these few short 3 to 4 days here. They've been very, very jam-packed. So I'm looking forward to get on board, get into all the projects, and Can't say thank you enough to the residents who supported me for the 25 years at the police department, and looking forward to working with the same ones. A lot of great things happening.
Thank you. Town attorney?
Yes, a couple of things. First, we're working on 3 interlocal agreements, all revolving around water. One with Cherville regarding the emergency hookup, one with Munster regarding the proposed water supply hookup, and the other with Highland, which is ancillary to the settlement agreement in the litigation. Speaking of litigation, I was just served with an petition for judicial review from the Briar Ridge residents in the Lake Circuit Court, so I will provide updates to that. And then just on a personal note, I want to echo Debbie's thoughts about the parks program. My son is one of those kids in the park, and we just love to have some great staff working.
Thank you. Boards and commissions, Frank, Utility Board?
Yes, on the water projects, which we got 2021 issue projects, our new supply main and our replacement supply main from Highland, new supply main from Munster. We got our bid openings on June 18th. So those came in under estimates, engineers' estimates. So that kind of completes the list of our core projects. And it appears to leave us at this point with sufficient dollars to pursue what we've been calling contract 6. We'll probably take on other designations, which is the valve and hydrant replacement project. And Jeff's been working with Nice regarding that to try to form up what our expectations are going to be in terms of the number of units and the cost that we associated with that. The estimates we had in there would allow us to do that under our existing bondage. So we're hopeful that that progresses positively as we move forward. On our on the sanitary side, we have the Foster's project, which Jeff can probably speak to, but that's basically on schedule and progressing for completion here towards the fall. So that's working positively for us. And also we're looking at the wastewater treatment plant upgrade project. I've kind of used that terminology. Jeff, you and I spoke about that because it's not just headworks, it all involves other areas of treatment like a tertiary treatment. And right now we're completing to submit an application for the grant money that we discussed before. So we're hopeful that we might be able to get some funding to make that project a reality sooner than later. But there's a lot of work going on, looking at that design, looking at what the necessities are and so forth. So that's going on actively right now. And as I mentioned, the application is going to months. So basically a lot's going on as has been here for the last year, and we'll obviously continue with that. So.
Okay, thank you. Department heads, Chief Martin.
Thank you, Chief. During the month of June, Dyer Fire Department responded to a total of 182 calls for service, equaling 1,224 man hours. We had 7 fires, luckily 0 of those being structures, 115 EMS calls, 10 motor vehicle accidents, 23 citizens assists, 11 false alarms, 2 carbon monoxide alarms, 5 investigations. We provided 6 mutual aids, and we had 7 calls of service in the township. We had 4 department trainings, equaling 160 man hours. We also graduated 3 from the Fire Academy, Taylor Salisbury, Nick Molman, and Mitch Panizak. Each one of them put in 400 plus hours of training. And just on a note, because I was one of the first on scene, between police, fire, and Parks Department, the response to that EF0 tornado was fantastic. So from a standpoint of that, everybody worked so well and so synergistically together. It was great to see.
Thank you. Chief Alcott.
Police Department had 917 incidences, 40 arrests, 38 accidents, 248 citations, 267 warnings, and 19 ordinance violations. Presently, we are in our testing phase with the cameras actually on our officers to work out bugs, and we're working with Spillman integration at this time, and we'll have we should be up and running full by August at the latest. We're still working on a few bugs that we're working on.
Thank you. Mike, Parks Department.
Just an update for our autumn chase project. I'm still waiting with the DNR for the official approval we can start construction with that. We already bidded that out, so just on hold until I hear back from the Land and Water grant. We're doing that. For Central Park, for that first phase, the Dyer construction section, we did our walkthrough last week. with it. So we'll be closing up that section of the construction project. The concession stand restroom facility is nearing its completion as well. They're doing some painting and then gutters were being hung this afternoon. So that looks really nice. That once you're able to walk through the inside, once it's open, please do. It's very nice. Not sure if I mentioned this last month, but we were awarded the urban forestry grant with that'll be the 2020 urban forestry grant with IDNR. So that was a $10,000 grant, matching grant. We're going to use that to install trees, 36 trees over at Veterans Park. That was one of the parks that we rehabbed back in 2018. So we'll be doing that here in the fall. We're halfway through the community markets. Next one, July 20th. Summer camp, we're halfway through summer camp as well. I think we have 2 weeks left, and appreciate the words from Debbie and Adam with the camp. We do have a record number of kids all together for the camp, so it has done very well. It's weekly signups, so we've been getting more and more requests and stuff, and the guys working like that have done well. And then last thing, July 13th is our next meeting. I'll be sending out the agenda to everyone as normal. I'll copy you guys on it, but we'll have a full agenda for the meeting.
Thank you. Jeff, Public Works.
The warning signals for the in front of that are activated by the Opticoms that are going to go in front of Hard Street Fire Station and the new one that's on 213 has been delayed. It was supposed to be delivered this month, but it's now being delivered next month.
Okay.
So we'll be seeing that probably at the end of August, early September. We're in the process of doing a traffic study along Hart Street right by Pheasant Hills Park for that pedestrian crossing that we're looking at. So we're in the process of getting that information. As Frank said, the phosphorus project is moving along at proper pace, and its anticipated completion should be at the end of August, early September as well.
That's good news.
That's going well. All the cleanup from the EF0 has been pretty much performed. There are a few trees that still need to be looked at and potentially removed, but again, we have removed all that debris, so that's been taken care of. And then in September 18th is our third annual open house. It is from 9 a.m. until noon. So again, I invite everyone to join us, see what actually makes Public Works ticks. So,
thank you. Road projects, Neil.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Regarding the 2020-1 Osage and Laurel CCMG project that is on schedule and ahead of schedule, the 2021-1, which is Carnation, Edgewood, and Schilling, that project is out for bid. Plans and specs are ready. We've had a conversation with a few contractors who've already picked them up and are going to. And that award recommendation will be at your August meeting, staying consistent with NDOT requirements to have that within 120 days from the award, which is at the end of August. So we'll be compliant with that. The 2020-2 CCMG, which leaves us $325,000 plus or minus of available requested funding for resurfacing. We have that application set up with NDOT. We coordinate that with Brian Lane, and that application has been prepared. And we'll coordinate with the PD. I talked with Troy yet this afternoon to get the required accident information that they require from NDOT to include in the LTAP and the ITAP process. But we do have a recommended list, which is part of the 5-year plan, and that includes Seminary, Summerhill, Hawthorne, Windhill, Autumn, Harvest, Crestview, 211th Place, 212th Street, Greenwood, and Capri. And those would be resurfacing. Minor storm sewer rehabilitation on catch basins, inlets, and curb replacements, curb repairs as needed. But generally, resurfacing up to a 2-inch mill is applicable to those projects.
Sounds good. Any questions?
Yeah, the other day I happened to see Milestone, the new Walsh and Kelly.
Yes.
And they were out doing a lot of repairs. Great job. Great
Yeah.
job.
Yeah, they got the patching contract, and Jeff's also doing some work at Public Works on their asphalt. But yeah, Reith Riley has the majority of your work right now, but
Yes.
Milestone, they both do a good job, and
Correct.
that's generally local patching is what Milestone is performing right now.
Right. Thank you.
Any questions?
Thank you, Neil.
Thanks. Congratulations to Dave and Bill. congratulations. Better to be sworn in than sworn at. So good luck.
Next, we have general orders, old business, Pheasant Hills Pond Study. Would anybody like to address the study?
Well, I'd like to open it up and just say thank you. If everyone's going to help move it forward, I've been trying to work on this project for the last 2 years. I think it's about time that not only the council, but all the residents would like to see a nice, clean Pheasant Hill Pond. I remember back in the day, they had cardboard boat races in there. So there's going to be a path around it, and it would be nice to have that water cleaned up. There's been several studies and several ideas from the council members, and looking forward to moving forward with including hopefully 1 or possibly 2 fountains in there. Won't help a whole lot with the oxygen level, but it will make it look really nice. If you drive around Northwest Indiana, you see just about every pond has a nice fountain in it. It would be really nice to have it. It's a gem in our town. We just like to improve it, continue to work on it and get it better. I appreciate Department of Public Works and Park Department working with us. I think the Stormwater Board is still on with us. I'm not sure, but I will be counting on our new town manager, Dave Hines, a lot. I've talked to him a little bit. I know he's got that drive to help get it done, and looking forward to it. So if you have any other ideas or information, I greatly appreciate it and would love to hear it. Dave, is there anything else?
No, I think the reason it's got freshened up on here is you see the updated report. Just looking for direction from the council to make it happen or continue studying it.
No, I think we've studied it since, and I've been part of an email chain since 2008. We spent far more money than anyone wants to even talk about on this. The studying's done. It's pretty simple what we need to do. I think we just need to move forward and help everyone know their parts in this project, know the direction they need to take, and support them in helping us get this done.
I believe the recommendation from the Stormwater Board was to terminate the study.
Yeah, there's I don't see any reason to continue any type of studies. Everything's pretty much laid out. I think a lot of this work, as far as planting vegetation, I might be wrong, but I'm assuming Public Works or Parks could possibly do some of this. Is that? I mean, I do worry about planting the native vegetation. I understand the use, but I know when we plant it, someone's going to cut it down. It happens all the time. So, but there's some good suggestions here that we could do. Some of it seems pretty simple, but I don't see any reason to continue any type of studies with the consultants. Not at this point.
I think where we're at is any of the shoreline restoration, maybe even some of that native grass planting around, would probably fall to parks as they look to put that path around the ponds. So I think where we're at now is just whether or not there is, knowing that it will serve no purpose that the board would care about other than the aesthetics would fall to the town council as to what we want to do with a fountain. Aside from that, I'm assuming that everything else would fall to parks with that pathway around. That's my guess.
I think from what I remember in the past, the Stormwater Board has to approve the use of the fountain. Is that correct? Because it is, the pond basically belongs to the stormwater.
It's a retention pond.
Right.
Yeah, and then that falls within stormwater.
I mean, really what we're asking for is just a fountain. I know there's been suggestions that if it's too shallow, a fountain won't work. My thought is we try one fountain. If it gets clogged, we can move it to another retention pond. If it works, then we can look at purchasing another one. I know there's still some cost as far as running electric there, but I mean, that's the simplest that's basically what we want to do is we want to put a fountain there. And then as far as the path around the pond, that's coming with parks in the
Yeah.
future.
Yes, but we do have a design for the path.
Okay.
Already, we've had that for a few months. That Robinson did, and then we've been at this next meeting. I do have that as a topic at the next meeting. It's also been following with Cherry Hill is trying to upgrade that particular park, side by side and stuff. But we should have. I'll check in with Dave, but he's tomorrow. He's supposed to send me some information. I asked him to send me what he had for Pleasant Hills, Cherry Hill, so we can bring it on Tuesday. But yeah, the path is supposed to be gravel.
Okay.
Unless everyone wanted to change on that. But the reason for the gravel, there was more request from the school.
Right.
Because they use that
For cross country. Yeah. Yeah, I think we definitely have to keep it gravel so they can use it for cross country. I mean, there's probably a section there by Cherry Hill that we can pave.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I wanted to have into Cherry Hill. The plan
Yeah.
too was to have a connection into Cherry Hill, so then you could walk to the sidewalk and then eventually walk the convoy basically on the sidewalk and stuff. So
Okay.
Yeah, there could be. I'm sure there could be.
So if I may interject again, I sent the council information there. As we look toward cleaning up the water, there's natural products for enzymes and bacteria that can be put in there relatively inexpensive that would help not only digest the muck in the bottom and the dead plant life, but would also help alleviate some of the E. coli from the geese. The last thing is, from what you said, the emails we all received must be wrong because on the top page it said, the pond served no functional use for the Stormwater Management Board. So either it doesn't belong to them and serve no use, or it does, and this email is wrong. I'm not sure which is correct.
From what they've been saying all along, it's basically belongs to the Stormwater Board and it's for water retention.
Well, yeah, the
But
governors from that neighborhood right there run into it. So the email is incorrect then.
From everything I know, it is incorrect.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to clear that up. So if anyone has any questions or would like more information on natural ways to help clean that pond water at very minimal cost, please reach out. I have all that information. Would like to move forward with it.
Well, I mean, so this doesn't continue in Dante's 7 circles. What do we want to do with this? Are we going to look to ask the Stormwater Board to give us permission to slap a fountain up there? I mean, it doesn't sound like we have a conclusion yet.
If I remember right, and as the years catch up to me, sometimes my memory isn't all there, but I believe we've been before the Stormwater Board and we've got their agreement to help put in a fountain. And I got to go along with the idea from the council. Let's put one in. Let's manage the water on at least one side of it, see how it works out. They have new shallow water pumps and fountains that are supposed to work specifically for a type of pond that we have. So I think we can, to me, the west side, since we use it most, would be the best bang for our buck. Try to work on water a little bit, get that in there. So I don't know if you remember, but I remember us going before the Stormwater Board and they all agreed and we all agreed. It's just a matter of having someone do it.
They voted 3-0 to terminate the study because it was $150,000 just for that one.
Okay, we're not talking about the sewer, we're talking about the fountain.
Exactly.
If I can interject briefly here, I got a text from Stormwater Director Lane, and he indicated that that pond doesn't actually provide functional retention for the stormwater system.
What do you mean?
Apparently, it's not necessary.
Then why are they draining the streets? And part of the study, not only this one, but prior ones, attribute a lot of the pollution from the oils and the antifreeze from the cars on the streets that go into the curb guttering that flow right into that pond.
And that I can't answer. I'm just conveying what he had.
And then if you remember back in the day on the flooding we had in the town of Dyer, it served as an overflow for that creek. When it did overflow at the bank, instead of flooding out all the neighborhoods, all that water went to Pheasant Hill Pond, flooded out the pond on the park, and it did its job. So I'm not sure how they can say it doesn't functionally work for the Stormwater Board.
Well, they don't utilize it for retention. So, I mean, again, that's just what was conveyed. So,
Right.
I mean, it's not necessary for that, but again, he would have to.
Yeah, I guess I'm totally confused. If we're using it for retention, then why are they saying it's not used for retention? It doesn't sort of make sense. But what we can, it's secondary, we can figure it out. I think as a council, we should be able to just have somebody just say, please, you do it. Get it done and we'll figure out the costs and who's gonna
Right.
share it between the boards. And no better person to tackle this project to help get it going. I know Jeff don't want more on his plate, but I would suggest Jeff, he does a great job.
Okay.
You want me to take care of that? I'll get some.
Yeah, I would ask the council for at least a consensus or whatever we need to move forward.
Yeah, I'm fine with purchasing one fountain as a test fountain. And the backup is if it does get clogged and we can't use it there, let's move it to another pond in town.
What I will do is I'll get some prices and some
Okay.
information on how to.
I will send information I have to
Okay.
you on those.
Great.
All right.
And I might suggest the west side of the pond for right now to test it.
Which makes a lot of sense, it's closer to the lift station. So
Yes.
the lift
Okay.
is
Yeah.
closer, so
Okay, so then we have electric already there, basically.
there is electric there, so
Okay.
it's just a question of running the electrical back into.
Okay.
itself.
Mr. President, if I just may interject, none of this requires official action since there's no adoption of a
Okay.
plan. What we're doing is essentially asking for submittal of a plan on which the council can vote at another date. So there's no motion required at this point.
Okay, all right. Yeah, Jeff, you can get us that information. We can act on it in the future. All right, thank you. Next, we have ordinance and resolutions. Ordinance 2021-13. I need a motion for an amendment to the salary ordinance. And if you look at your enclosed sheet, it's for $1,500 for fire chiefs' uniforms.
I'll make a motion that we adopt ordinance 2021-13, whereas ordinance 2017 is being amended number 4 under the clothing allowance, page 10 to add fire chief, $11 million. I'm sorry, $1,100. And administrative, page 1 to add.
We're hiring liberal.
All right, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk take the roll?
Bob,
Aye.
Alicia,
Aye.
Mary. Hi. Steve,
Aye.
Alan.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Next, I
No,
need,
it's an ordinance, so you need to suspend the rules and
I make a
second.
motion to suspend the rules and pass on the second reading.
do I,
Second.
okay. Any discussion? Will the clerk take the roll?
Bob,
Aye.
Alicia,
Aye.
Mary. Hi. Steve,
Aye.
Alan.
Aye.
I'd like to make a motion that we pass ordinance 2021-13 on second reading.
Do I have a second?
Second, but I thought I put it all together on my
Oh,
motion.
you did?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. Good.
That would work.
Okay. So,
That's what I thought too.
It's trying to be
Is
efficient.
that what the clerk reflects?
Yes.
Okay, then we'll go with it.
okay, so the motion carries 5-0. Next, we have ordinance 2021-14, creation of the it should be the Historic Preservation Commission.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 2021-14, the creation of a Dyer Historic Preservation Commission.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. President, this just authorizes the creation of the commission. There's a very detailed statutory procedure as to how the commission is formed. There's a number of designated bodies and individuals who get to make appointments to the commission. And then once the commission is formed, they hold hearings and submit a recommendation to this council as to what the historic district will be and what buildings it will include. So this is just the first step in what will be a series of enactments.
Right, this is the first step probably of like a 3-step process. Any other discussion?
It is supposed to say historic preservation. We can correct that for the final copies.
Yes, I believe it's historic
Yes.
preservation.
So the buildings and structures you're looking at, Will the people, the residents who are living in these structures are working, are they going to have some kind of say in what's going on here? or-
Yeah, they still have ultimate control. It's private property. The commission, it basically is like another layer of oversight.
Yeah, how it works is before the commission can even create a historic district, it has to hold a public hearing at which residents can give their input. And then once the commission is enforced and we have a district, what it is if there's any plans to alter the historic structure, beyond what won't affect the historic value of it, then it has to go through this commission before it goes to the plan commission or the BZA.
Adam, is that even if someone was to sell something?
No, you can sell it. It only deals with changes to the property.
Any other discussion? Will the clerk take the roll?
Bob?
Aye.
Alicia?
I'm gonna abstain from this.
Mary? Aye. Steve?
No.
You forgot me.
Oh, Alan, I'm sorry.
Oh, aye.
Can't suspend the rules because it has to be 5-0.
Okay.
Yeah,
So it'll have to be on the next meeting.
Yep.
Okay. Next, we have ordinance 2021-15, approving a water rate tracker for the purchase of treated water from Hammond via Munster and Highland. Do I have a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve ordinance number 2021-15, adopting the 10-year water rate tracking on first reading.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. President, this is the ordinance that was noticed for the public hearing at the beginning of the meeting. What the language here is lifted off of the Brownsburg, I believe, tracking ordinance for their water supply from Indy. And what this does is it says that the town can adjust its rates to reflect the costs of its supply from Highland and Munster, which will be governed by the settlement agreement. The rates are not determined yet because we have yet to negotiate the transport fee from Highland and with Munster as that connection comes through. But what this does is it prevents the need for noticing a public hearing every time the rate steps up pursuant to the settlement agreement.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk take the roll?
Bob?
Aye.
Alicia?
Aye.
Mary? Aye. Steve?
Aye.
Alan?
Aye, motion carries 5-0.
Make a motion to suspend the rules and approve ordinance number 2021-15, adopting 10-year water rate tracking on second reading.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk take the roll?
Bob?
Aye.
Alicia?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Alan?
Aye, motion carries 5-0. Next, we have a resolution 2021-27, authorizing the adoption of an intergovernmental agreement with the Little Cal River Basin Development Commission for funding of the two-stage ditch. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2021-27, authorizing the adoption of an intergovernmental agreement with the Little Cal River Basin Development Commission for funding of the two-stage ditch. This has been studied and gone on for years, and it's nice to see it come to fruition.
Second.
Any other discussion?
On the front page I have, it said they're waiting on word from the LCRBC on their approval for the 600,000. Have we gotten word on it?
Yes. Approved, that's the document. I believe that's included.
Yeah, it's written in the proposed
Yes.
agreement that they're
Approved that.
supplying 600,000. It's section 5C.
Okay, well, I'm reading a letter dated July 1st.
Yes,
So it's incorrect?
that is incorrect.
Okay.
It is been approved.
Okay.
I mean, it's in the agreement they signed and are proposing. So if someone got that wrong, if that's what the email says.
Thank you.
Sure.
I believe it was signed June 16th by.
Okay.
I see it now in the back.
Any other discussion? Will the clerk take the roll?
Bob,
Aye.
Alicia. Aye. Mary. Aye. Steve.
Aye.
Alan.
Aye. Resolution carries 5-0. Next, we have Resolution 2021-28, transfer of funds. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion we approve resolution 2021-28, the transfer of certain funds.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk take the roll?
Bob,
Aye.
Alicia. Aye. Mary.
Aye.
Steve.
Aye.
Alan.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Next, we have under new business, change order number 1, Town Hall boiler. Do I have a motion to approve the change order?
I'll make that motion, approve the change order, order number 1, Town Hall boiler.
Okay, and the cost on that is $973.72.
Yep.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk take the roll?
Bob,
Aye.
Alicia. Aye. Mary. Aye. Steve.
Aye.
Alan.
Aye. Next, we have expiring appointments to boards and commissions. Currently, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say,
Go
do
ahead.
we need to make a motion on replacing Alcott and Martin on those two, or is? Yeah,
If there's a vacancy, yeah, you need a motion to fill them.
and I think the only two we can do now, aside from just the information that there are current vacancies on the disabilities board and knowing what's coming up, is I'll make a motion that we appoint Bill Alcott to the Lake County Public Safety Communications Board and Joe Martin to the Lake County Emergency Management Advisory Council.
I would ask if you could please change it to add the advisory board to Eric Schultz. He was one of the people who created this board, and he would like to continue participation by being on the board.
I'll amend it.
I'll second that. Thank you.
Any discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk take the roll?
Bob,
Aye.
Alicia. Aye. Mary. Aye. Steve.
Aye.
Alan.
Aye. Next, we have the proposal to perform utility energy services for the town of Dyer. I believe, Frank, that you're probably most familiar with this, but I personally, I would like to have further information before we come to some type of agreement.
I agree.
Okay. Anybody have any questions regarding that?
I think it needs to be discussed and gone over because we just got it.
Right. Okay, we can put this off till the August meeting? Will we
Yes.
have information by then?
Yes.
Okay. Next, we have the Convention and Visitor Bureau's grant opportunity. Is there any update on that? I know that the last meeting, there was apparently an opportunity for 20,000 if we submitted a one-page application. That's,
I don't know, but I'm going by what I read in the newspaper is that it was smooth sailing up until maybe a week ago, and then there was a little disagreement going on within that board themselves. But I just want to make sure that we have submitted it. Do you know, or if anybody knows if we submitted our portion or our part?
I don't, as far as I don't think so, because what's in there is what Tom asked me for some ideas. So what's in there is just the last communication I had with Tom at the time.
okay.
I don't think it was, I don't believe, I know I didn't do it. I don't know if it was, anything was submitted from there.
So if we could, I would like to make sure we have someone check into, and if we haven't, get something submitted ASAP. And
Sure. The recommendation here is for the number 3 and number 4. Is that what you want to stay current with?
No, these are recommendations on how to spend it. Right now, we need to make sure we put the paperwork in
Yeah.
to even get this money. And then follow up with Brent from Docs, because he's our appointee to this board. And he is now a vice president, I believe, on this board. And then we can figure out how we want to disperse it.
Yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, Dave, if you could follow
We'll follow
up
up
with
with that,
them
yes.
and see what's going on. And then I think that's it. But yeah, there's some infighting with that board, so we'll see what happens. But we at least need to get our application in.
Get our place in line, right?
Right. Next, any and all?
Yes, Mr. President, it wasn't on the agenda and I didn't catch it until right before the meeting. I had sent a proposed resolution regarding making an offer on the northwest corner of Sheffield and 213th and redoing the Trillium offer pursuant to 3224-1 rather than 3224-2. We had appraisals done, 2 appraisals done on both of those properties. The average on the 213th property, I believe, comes out to 99.5, and on Trillium was 89.5, if I'm correct. If you could just entertain an oral motion, we could have the resolution ready for signing. I want to send those offers out ASAP.
Yes, I agree. Do I have a
I'll make
motion?
that motion to entertain that offer.
Do I have a second?
How are you sure we don't want to talk about this for 5 or 6 more years before we make a second?
I'll make the
Councilman
second.
Starkey?
Right. Will the clerk take the roll?
Bob,
Absolutely.
Alicia,
Aye.
Mary,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Alan.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Adam, you can get to work on that tomorrow.
I will, and then not to take up more of your time, but I wanted to provide an update on the Hart Street properties as well. Going through emails with the new town manager, it appears that the appraisals were supposed to have been, and I don't want to crap on anyone who's not here, but our former town manager said he would take care of the appraisals, and it turns out those were never done. So we will be contacting Mr. Vale and Bognowski to obtain appraisals on these properties. Hopefully this month, and we can have a similar motion ready for the August meeting.
Okay. Thank you, Adam. Any other business before the council? I would like to say one thing. I see Nan Wargo here. Nan, I just want to thank you for, I think most people don't know, Nan spends a lot of her own money and a lot of her time and effort planting flowers, putting up a park bench, doing all kinds of work at Hearthstone Park. So we really appreciate your work. We really love residents like you. So we thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. It looks great.
Mike does a good job and he encourages us.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned.
Need a motion?
Oh, yep.
I'll
Right.
make a motion to adjourn.
I have a second.
Second.
Voice vote.
Yep.
Aye.
Meeting
10
adjourned.
minute recess.
Okay.
We were talking about the Pheasant Hill Pond.
Thank you.
Can I say something about that?
Sure, this is the redevelopment commission meeting, but go ahead.
Am I okay?
You're fine.
You know, we're talking about this pond and we're talking about putting an aerator in there or a fountain. And it just seems to be that there's a lot of confusion who is responsible for this pond. And I was observing what the talk was, and Frank made a couple of statements on there, and he's just trying to convey what he knew, not what was going on. And why do we want to put a fountain in here? Does anybody know how deep this pond is?
Yes.
How deep is it?
We've got diagrams of not only one, but multiple diagrams of all the depths throughout the pond. And the depth of the muck in there too.
Which I know it's full of silt, okay? And it's full of bacteria from the geese, and you got the runoff from the street, and everything that goes in there. But this is a retention pond. And then when it gets so high, you got the pump station and it pumps it into the creek. Okay. But why do we want to put a fountain in here?
If you're asking if it's okay with the council, I'd be happy to answer, or we can just wait for the next meeting until we get a review. But for myself and the residents and everyone I talk to, it's because they believe that pond is worth cleaning up, and aesthetically they would like it to look better and more functional. A nice park. It would seem to be the jewel of our park because we have a lot of events there. And you just hit the nail on the head. There is E. coli and other contaminants, but they can be removed naturally. And I think it's beholden to us as the elected officials to do all we can, not only to help clean up that park, but any other park or area in town that needs it.
You know, everybody I talk to that lives around, and my daughter lives on that pond, okay? Everybody I talk to, I don't think they're really concerned about a fountain. What the real concern is with the citizens, everybody, is a walking path. That's what you need around there.
That's coming next.
It's already being worked on.
That's being planned, should be hopefully next year.
And the goose poop.
Yes, if you listen to it, it was during the town council, part of the report, our parks board expanded on it. They explained what's going on, what type of path. The town council president explained what type of path and the different uses it's going to be. So that's all part of the master plan to help improve this park, the water quality, the aesthetic quality of it, and not only here, but other parks too. So
I
it's
know
going to be improved.
Jeff is gonna try to find out, get some information on this. Does anybody have a cost estimate?
The last study was $150,000 to the Stormwater Board. My concern is over the years, we've spent a small fortune on this same thing. We've already done this exercise over the last 40 years. We've done it with, and you know, you've been around here long enough to know that that is a peat bog. You're not going to change it. So that's my point. It's fine the way it is as far as I'm concerned, but the Storm Board voted 3-0 to terminate everything because it was getting too costly. I think we can find another place for $150,000.
Well, you know, you're gonna have maintenance with this. You know,
Exactly.
in the wintertime, you gotta pull that. How do I know? Because I used to do this.
Yes.
Okay. You gotta pull that pump out. You gotta roll it. You gotta store it. And you know what? You see this little pump? You see this thing?
Yeah.
And everybody thinks it's like an ejector pump or a sump pump. The thing is huge.
Yeah.
It's got to float over there. You got to anchor it from at least 2 points so it doesn't float away.
Yep.
You
So
know.
to get back to your original question about approximate ballpark costs, you know, what Councilwoman Candace talked about was all engineering studies that, in my view, we wasted way too much money. It's been studied since 2008, multiple studies, again in 2012, and again this last year. I didn't get the exact figures on this last group, but I heard it was around 20 For far less than that, in the last study, we can improve that water, not only what they found, but with natural bacteria and natural plants around it. So well worth it to save the environment, not only for us, for our future and our kids. It's a small amount, ballpark maybe around 10,000 to get all this going. The new pumps, if you look at the pond pump, because you can drive around Northwest Indiana, see them in every development, every or detention pond that has water. There's one right there on Main Street, probably closest one I know of. They run it, and from what the residents tell me in the town, very little maintenance because they stay on top of it, and those pumps are designed to handle the installation, removal, and the different weather. So yes, it is a very integral, important part.
You know, you talk about aesthetics. I was over there for the, what was that for the park? The market over there. And you look at the shoreline, that shoreline's a disaster. That all needs to be all dug out and put 5x9 or riprap and all. Oh, yeah, I mean, you're talking a lot of money here.
No, we've already designed, the engineer studies have wasted tons of money. They know how to do it very inexpensively. We're gonna start working on it. The longer we wait, the worse it's gonna be, and the more money it's gonna cost us now and in the future. So yeah, there are different ideas to help shore up the shoreline, help protect the walking paths around there, and natural ways to help clean the water. We're going to move forward with this.
Well, that's a
And
good
we're going
thing.
to keep the costs in mind. We're not going to spend no more money on engineering designs, but I think we are going to wait right now to get some ideas in the plan from the expert that we asked to do, which is our Department of Public Works Director. After that, we should be able to answer more of the question.
Rich, I'd like to invite you to the, to keep in touch with our new town manager as to what's going on. That would be the best avenue. I mean, right now we're at the Redevelopment Commission meeting, but I
Right,
certainly,
right.
I encourage your enthusiasm, and please keep in touch.
To
with-
me, the biggest thing here, forget the pumps, get the walking path thing.
Yeah.
How long have we been talking about this walking
That
path?
should be in next year, is that
Yeah.
correct? By next year?
You got any bids on that yet?
No, I mean, the path.
Is the money available for this?
Next year.
It is. Okay, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because everybody I talk to, that's what they would like to
And
see.
that's, the middle school uses it all the time. Cross country uses it. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Any other citizen input? I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented with the minutes of the June 10th, 2021 Redevelopment Commission meeting. Claims totaling $2,037,993.45.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
You have a second?
Second.
We have a roll, please. Whoops.
Sue.
Yeah.
Bob,
Aye.
Alicia. Ellen.
Aye.
Steve.
Aye.
Mary.
Aye. Journal orders, we have no old business, we have no new business. Is there any and all? I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second, voice vote.
Aye.
Okay, back to you, sir.
Okay. Next, we have the town council work session. First, Councilman Starkey, go ahead.
I threw out the first three options. I think individually we've all talked about this at some point or another. Consolidating some of the boards and commissions under the council. How that's done, whether we do it as a quote RDC style, where the board still exists, is just made up of the council members, or if the board is dissolved and the work of the board is just taken up during the regular business of the town council. One of my main concerns is that the town council would have more direct accountability for some of the major projects. As an example, last year we bonded out $14 million, of which the town council only has $2 million worth of accountability for. The $10 million went to the utility board and they spend as they see fit. Same with the park board. Their $2 million goes to that board. And so I think the council should have more oversight over some of, especially some of that bonding power. I think it would also, logistically, it would reduce the number of meetings that the town hall would have to prepare for, not so much in information, but rather just having it spread out. You know, we probably save a little bit of money on, I mean, not only the board members, but having fewer meetings. I think it does good to pull back some of the size of government. It works well in other communities. Zionsville took over their park board. You look at Cherville. I believe they also do park and their utility board. Stormwater functions, to me, are probably more akin to the planning board than its own board. I think we've seen, and this goes to a larger discussion of, what's the point of our stormwater board? Now that we know that over 50% goes to overhead, and so if we're paying $19 a month for that, less than half of that is going towards actual projects. So is that a user fee, or is that something we should bond out for on a project by project basis that the planning commission would oversee? I think it would. I think we'd get perhaps better use of some of our outside resources, the engineering firms. We'd have a little more control over that. Police commission, I know we'd all talked again at one point in time or another about moving to a public safety commission. I think with the idea of what we're trying to accomplish with the fire department, I think it's necessary that they have some type of oversight, same oversight that the police commission affords the police department. I know the public safety commission model has been successful in other surrounding communities. So I thought for item 1 here, we could talk about, does anybody have any thoughts on that?
I do. I think that the boards and commissions, the way that they stand right now, bring in a lot of our citizens from a lot of parts of the town. And we took over RDC because that's where a lot of the money was. But the other ones, I would disagree. This is not Cherville, this is not Zionsville, this is Dyer. And we certainly want to have a lot of people's input from different backgrounds for our boards and commissions. You might also take a look at how much your boards are making, their town councils are making in those different communities, because they're spending all their time doing all these meetings. I mean, I think it works better with the liaison, and we each have our own particular area that we go to. And it's a good way to run things, as far as I'm concerned. And I want to keep police commissions separated.
If I can interject my 2 cents, Councilman, you can go first.
Okay, because I was going to ask for information. I think what's that old saying, all ideas are good ideas. It's an interesting concept. I know we've talked about it. I just need personally more information, and I would ask our attorney to make sure we're in alignment with state regulations. Whatever they are, please forward us a copy of it for merging any of these boards, especially the ones, utilities, stormwater. I know they have a lot of their own regulations. The fire department oversight, I know the regulations are different in Indiana than Illinois. I've gone through enough different communities. I think we have a residential expert on safety. We know what we want to accomplish. It's just what's the best way to do it, and does Indiana regulations allow it? So if you can provide those regulations so we can review it, I think we could have some good conversations on it at that point.
I will be happy to draft up a memo for you, but I can just tell you a few things just off the top of my head. Park and stormwater have to be separate boards. You can staff them with members of the council, but those boards can't be merged into others just because of the way the statutes are written. Utility is a strange bird. Stormwater and utility can be merged, but only in third-class cities,
Right.
which we are not.
Correct.
So we have to have them separate. The utility board statute allows the council to exercise the functions of the utility board. But if you're going to adopt an ordinance setting that up, it has to be passed by a town referendum, which means you got to certify it and it has to go on the ballot, and that's a fun process, but other municipalities have done it. Public Safety Commission, again, it's going to be its own animal, regardless of whether it's just police or whether you're doing a public safety. It's just going to be a policy decision on what the council wants to do with that. So I'll give you further in-depth analyses of these questions. That's just something to look at and think about now.
Thank you.
Just as a follow-up, other communities do not have a stormwater board.
Cherville doesn't
Yeah,
have
you
one.
don't have to have one, but you don't
It's
have
just
to
you
have
can't-
bonding.
They're not draining
You
30,
can't
40
combine them.
miles, square
anybody
miles.
else. If you have it, they gotta be a separate entity.
Yeah, only a third-class city is allowed to combine stormwater and utility. If you have,
Basic choices to leave them or.
or keep them their own.
Okay.
Now, you can say 3 of us will serve on it, but it has to be separate.
And Mary, I would agree with you with the money thing, and that's why I brought it up. I mean, the whole point of, is my understanding, not being on the council, was that RDC did have a lot of money, and one of the concerns was having, we'll say, citizen oversight over that. I would contend, again, this is a similar situation. Last year, we gave out $14 million of the town residents' money, and we only have control of $2 million of that. So, I mean, that's that.
In
I think
past,
that-
if I may speak, 2017, 2018, we talked about this and putting council members instead of the liaisons on some of these boards, but some disagreed. But at that time, the attorney said we could do that, and it just holds more accountability with the board when the councilman sit there.
Oh, and one more thing on that. The 2 boards you can't really mess with are Plan and BZA. The statutes are very specific as to what that membership is and what its duties are. So Plan, you couldn't combine stormwater and Plan. Those are separately delineated by statute.
And stormwater, you can't put under utility. We've already gone down that road a
Yeah,
couple of
correct. You
times.
can't do that.
But you could have on the park in Storm, you could have a council member sitting there against you.
Oh, absolutely. You could have all 3 or all 4 in the case of the park board. Now, there's another issue, and again, this will be in the memo, is there's a special procedure for removal of park board members, and the question would be, does reorganization constitute a removal?
Yes.
I'm not sure there's any case law on that, but I'll see what I can find.
The second one that I thought of for council meeting schedule, I know it was always on Wednesdays and it was moved to Thursdays. This is a 2-part question. Is there any appetite to move it back to Wednesdays? And second is more of a, once we've settled on a day, the meeting schedule, I'd like to see if there's any appetite for having a placeholder for an executive session in the beginning, if we need it. If we don't need it, but putting the study session first so we can discuss things, and anything that comes up that we may think, hey, let's move on this, we'd have the opportunity at the very next meeting to do that, rather than now where we have a study session now and now we end up waiting a month to move on something if we wanted to. Any thoughts on either one of those?
For scheduling, I don't, me personally, Wednesday or Thursday, Wednesday would be fine. Middle of the week, we can try it, let's see how the format. The only thing I've always asked the past council and the town manager is to do all boards and commission meetings. Because I found out going to different boards and commission, they don't know each other. And a lot of times their projects cross paths. And we need to either figure out based on your first number 1 item, but eventually I would like to get back to doing it once in a while. It worked out really good last time we did it. everyone had at least the communications going on.
That happened like twice a year, right, Steve?
Yeah, we did it biannually. And I
Yeah.
think when we first started, we did a little bit more just to get it going. Saturday morning, spent an hour, hour and a half, and coffee, lunches, whatever you need, but it worked out really well.
I think we chose Thursday mainly because of the other towns in the area, so we can get input from other towns and so that we're not conflicting with each other on the same nights.
I can tell you for myself, Wednesday would work better for me than Thursday.
And they've always been on a Wednesday. They were just switched
Yeah.
for those
Yeah.
8 years because
Right.
it was a conflict for someone.
So, since we can't actually do anything here, maybe that's just something to maybe even circulate around your staff to see, because there's a lot of paperwork that needs to be done before that, see, what they may do. The last one I had is I looked through the employee policy and I didn't find one. If I missed it, someone let me know. It doesn't appear that we have a media contact policy.
No, we don't.
Police department has one internally, but I think it's important that we develop one for our employees, so they know. And I don't want this to come out as anything. I don't think anybody would have any malice towards it. I think it's just if we keep with the one person, one voice. I think obviously the FOIA requests go to the clerk because she's the clerk of record for the town. Any type of media interviews would go to the town manager or the communications specialist, and just acknowledging that the elected officials have the it's under their purview to speak to the press, but as representing themselves.
And AIM does a lot of work with that because they tell you, you need to have the town manager as a spokesperson.
Right.
That's.
And I had, and apologies, I didn't send it to to everyone. I had just sent it to Dave, but I had found some of those AIM. They have some webinars, some work on that, and I also believe I sent a copy of one of the media contact policies that the state uses. I just didn't want an employee speaking out of turn in a manner that, again, would be with good intentions, just isn't the exact message that we want to put out.
I think it's a good idea to adopt a policy.
And just so you know, I don't think any employee since I've been clerk has ever done that.
Oh, and
We just
I
had a
don't-
situation
yeah.
recently.
Yeah, that's why I
I
prefaced
even
it
got
with-
calls for something and I said, I cannot speak on this. It has to be the town manager. And the employees turned it over to me at that time.
And also just, the old, that you see on TV, anything you say can and will be held against you. It works in civil cases too.
Yep.
If an employee is speaking out in their role as an employee, that becomes admissible in an action against Dyer because they're an agent of the town when they say that. So it's important to, and not that we're trying to squelch the truth or anything. We just want to make sure that we minimize our liability and prepare for what is said on the town's behalf.
I don't think you're trying to handcuff the fire or police chief in giving media updates on incidents or traffic or anything like that. I think you're talking about an official media release for the town. They would still have rain like they normally would do,
Yeah,
like a
right.
police blotter or a
Yeah.
fire
Yeah.
update. They could still
Yeah.
do that kind of
Different
stuff.
story.
Yeah.
But if you're representing the town council.
Absolutely.
Well, that was my oxygen for the night.
Bob, I have one question for you. Well, 2 questions. If the meetings were switched on the Wednesday, when would the packets have to be due to you guys? On that Thursday then instead of Friday? Because they're due on Fridays before the Thursday, and I need to know that because when we prepare the docs, I need to have cutoffs to the department heads to get all their,
I think that might be part of the conversation that you have with your team.
okay.
See what the build out of those looks like, and
I just knew that would be a question, so I wanted to ask what
I
the
would hope
council
Friday would
thought.
still be acceptable, but I will poll the staff and see what kind of ramifications that would have.
I would like to go back to this stormwater board issue. Before we do anything or think about anything, we need to know where the administrative fees are going. Like, where are those fees going? What are they paying for? Because obviously you can't do anything with a stormwater board until you can figure out what these fees are covering. Otherwise, you're going to have chaos. So we need to figure that out.
I think anecdotally, and Frank, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, that the water and sanitary budgets were subsidizing stormwater work for a good amount of the history of Dyer. It wasn't until that because originally when the stormwater fee came out, 2/7 went to administrative costs, but they found that more work was being done on the behest of stormwater, and so that's where that went up to 50% of that fee goes towards that administrative cost. Now, what's all in there, I don't know. I don't know if exactly 50% is covering all of the the man hours worked, or where that's going in the form of true administrative costs. I don't know.
Jeff, and honestly, on your behalf, I mean, they didn't realize all the time, all the things that could come under stormwater. It's like street sweeping.
Yeah, and that all
all
is
that-
and
That's
that
part of it. Once they corrected it, then it's fine.
But Jeff and I went through the payroll last year, at the end of last year, and kind of spread it out evenly around everybody, so utilities weren't getting hit as
Right.
much. And then now it just depends if there's overtime, they still get paid the certain percentage, and we'll be looking at that again come August if we need to tweak it some more, because MVH was hurting.
Because everybody fills out their log sheets, and then whatever their jobs are done.
Correct.
that, You get a total amount, that's what's reported every year. And those percentages are looked at every year, but for the most part, it hasn't changed in 5 years. I mean, there's slight variations, but again, it's pretty much the same. So it is roughly around the previous.
Well, I know they always discuss that at the stormwater meetings, this is 2.5 people or
Right.
whatever.
And again, it can go up, it can go down. Like again, last month, because we had a storm come through, it was a lot more towards storm.
Yep.
But then there's other times where there's very minimal work that's done in storm, but the average is 3 employees for public works. Now, again, that's just, our aspect, that there's the administration, the town hall, and stuff like that, and billing. So again,
And that's gone down in the town hall part down to just 20%, where last year it was like, when I first came in, I was like 30%. No way, we're gonna take that down to 10 to 20 rather.
Yeah, and at one time, we obviously were subsidizing heavily from the other utilities.
Right.
And obviously that got burned off. So those costs had to be borne by stormwater
Right.
that were previously borne by the other utilities.
Right.
Plus, as Debbie was mentioning, there's a number of other, now again, all of this is accounted for and documented, right? So it can all be demonstrated. To your, answer your question, Alan, we can certainly kind of give you a rundown, a pie graph of what that looks like. And there's a lot of shared costs in there that are shared between all the utilities for administrative staff. But I think it's a simple matter. I'm not going to say simple matter, but it's not too difficult a matter if everybody agrees. We can kind of put together a breakdown for you, just so you can kind of understand, okay, exactly what are the broad categories this goes to. Is that fine with everyone? I think that kind of gets you. Because this keeps coming up continually, and I think probably the best way to handle it is with more information, better information, and summarize information.
And just, Alicia, I don't know if you know this or don't know it, but all your utilities cover costs with the town hall, not parks. And then public works, parks, police, and fire are all general fund.
And they have less, ultimately have less revenue. Okay, although obviously the stormwater can be higher, but obviously if they have an equal portion of something, then of course it's going to be a larger percentage for them than it is for the other utilities, right? Mathematically. So, but again, yeah, if that makes sense, let's do that, because I know that comes up frequently.
All right, next we have town hall renovations and.
President, I think Chief Alcott had a statement on the media policy.
Yeah, then a public information officer, rule of thumb, you want to work together with, obviously, town council through the town manager and the chiefs obviously, the chief has done, I'm sorry, the manager, the former chief did an excellent job of being able to put out the right information and pass it on to you. Obviously, public information amongst us is always sharing the information before it goes out so that we all have an understanding of it.
Right.
And having the three of us, the five of us all together on it, we normally have a PIO that's identified to the community as a public speaker. Like the chief has done such a great job with that because of our Facebook policies and everything else that you're aware of. Is an excellent idea to move forward as we're building this team. And we work together so that the message, not only the story, but the message from everybody is heard, so it works out that way. And I think the new town manager has a great grasp on that. So I would recommend that he oversee or figure out how we should do it as a group, because he is the PIO for the town when it comes to major incidences. But I've been through school on that, and the information and the training that we've had with this new thing that we're doing here is a great time to change all of it. So it's a voice of all instead of one.
Right.
And that's all I wanted to say on that. So I was glad that you brought that up.
Okay, thank you. Town hall renovations, a couple weeks ago when it seemed like it was never going to quit raining, we've got some serious roof leaks, and the boiler's just about done, but that really needs to go to the top of our list if, you know.
Again, I can describe exactly what there's two major issues, I guess you could say, with the town hall right now. One is electrical. Again, when the building was put in, back in the beginning of the year, and when there was a period when it was cold, we were having the situation involving the heaters, they kept them driven out. Well, we found out that a lot of the heaters that are inside those individual rooms are, either like double or triple the amount of services on that one breaker. So it's supposed to be a 20 amp breaker. There's like 40 or 60 amps worth of services on that one breaker. So that's what, again, I got a proposal today, is basically how we can try to fix this, because going into next winter, we may have a situation where, we'll have situations where, we'll breaker and or, create a fire hazard. So
Right.
I want to try to protect that. The other thing that came up was, again, the fact that again, we were aware of some leaks over the winter. So again, but it was mostly the rotunda that has, that rain hit. There's a lot more. So again, we're starting to get prices for repairs the roof and to get a better gutter system, because again, the gutters that are on this building are not really, adequate. For the rainfall. So it's kind of a twofold process. So again, we're going to start getting some prices. And again, you get in the price, but we got some estimates for the roof. It's right around 45,000. But again, we want to firm that up a little bit.
Okay.
The gutters are around 12,000. The electrical work is right around 30,000. So again, sorry, it adds up really quick. So
Right.
we're around 90,000 just right there, just trying to get those things fixed. And of course, the roof is important because if we want to do the mold remediation, we
Right.
have to stop the water from getting in the building.
We have to do the roof first.
Right.
Okay. Any other discussion regarding town hall renovations?
Yeah, I'm going to try to get a summary of everything that we've been working on. A lot of things have come up. I'm not sure if you guys have gotten a copy of the mold report that was completed. I'll get that circulated to you guys ASAP. There are some recommendations in there. There are some findings in there that we should take a look at as soon as we can. There was also parking lot requests, pairs the town hall and the EMS building is beyond crack sealing at this point. So we secured some information on that. So I'm gonna try to put together in one big packet of everything, and we'll prioritize it, and then we'll go from there looking at what funds may be available. But I believe a couple of things that are gonna be to the top of the list, which can't do anything inside until that roof gets done, and electrical. So I hope to prepare that for you guys soon.
There's also, I can add, there's this design that CSK was approved to complete, and that design, as I understand, and conversation with them today is nearly complete. So obviously, there's a number of different improvements within the building that were being considered, in addition to the items that just discussed here. So I believe, next week possibly there'll be a meeting, at least that's the intent, to understand exactly what has been designed in and understand what the estimate of that cost is going to be, because there was estimates out there before, but they're no longer valid.
Any other discussion?
One more item, not pertaining to that, but getting back to the boards. As I'm thinking, I would like to go and talk to Cherville to see how they function as a town council and dealing with some of these boards. And I would offer an invite to somebody else that they'd like to go with. I know we can't have more than two, but if someone would like to go with, I'm friends really with Tom Schmidt, the council president, and I believe his name's Connolly.
Well, can they come here for a study session maybe?
Well,
You can come with more than two, you just
Yeah.
can't hold a meeting.
Okay. Well, whoever, I'm just letting everyone know I'm going to talk to your town council president. If you'd like to join in, please let me know and we're gonna go there. I'm going there.
I have something else.
Yes, go ahead.
Now Tom was the vendor, town manager. With Dave coming on, we pulled up the old town manager job description. There was two. One was from the Jonep days, but then there was another one that some of the employees on the council side thought it was a new one. As I read it, it said the town of Highland. So I just didn't know if they were thinking about changing it for some reason. But otherwise, we have the Jonep one, and I just don't know who has it, who doesn't have it. Dave got it, I know that, in the email for the job description along with for his contract. But with the other position you guys approve administration wise, you guys will need to come up with a job description for that. Yep, just to let you know. So I have it, because State Board of Accounts is in the area. We are gonna have the audit in the next 2 months.
Good.
So they will be here for a solid month. I just don't know when, August or September.
Sounds like you're gonna have fun.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? Meeting adjourned.